See these icicles? Most people look at them and think winter wonderland. But when I see icicles like this hanging from a roof, I see a warning sign that could cost you thousands of dollars. Those icicles are telling me that there's likely an insulation problem in this attic. Heat is escaping through the roof, melting snow, and that water is refreezing at the eaves. It's called an ice dam, and it can cause serious damage to roofs, gutters, and even interior walls. Here's the thing. You'd never spot this problem in July. The same house, inspected in summer, would look completely normal. Welcome to Nova Scotia Real Estate Insights. I'm Eric Meredith. I've been helping buyers find homes across Halifax, Dartmouth, Bedford, and the South Shore for more than 19 years. Today, we're talking about something most buyers never consider, the hidden advantages of buying and inspecting a home in the wintertime. By the end of this episode, you'll understand exactly what cold weather reveals about a property that warmer months simply cannot show. Let's get into it. Why winter inspections are different. A home inspection is always valuable regardless of the season, but winter inspections provide something very unique. They put a house under real stress. Think about it. In summer, the heating system is dormant, the windows and doors are being tested by frigid temperatures, insulation isn't working very hard, everything looks and feels fine. But when the temperatures drop below freezing, that's when a home has to perform, and that's when weaknesses show themselves. Here in Nova Scotia, we experience some genuinely cold winters. Halifax averages around -8 Celsius in January. The South Shore can be slightly milder near the coast, but still sees plenty of freeze-thaw cycles. Those conditions create the perfect testing environment. Let me show you exactly what winter reveals. The roof tells a story. When snow sits on the roof, it creates a thermal map of everything happening underneath. And if you know what to look for, the patterns are incredibly revealing. Let's start with uneven snow melt. See how the snow has melted in patches on this roof, while other areas still have a full blanket of snow? Those melted spots are telling you exactly where heat is escaping from inside the house. Warm air rises into the attic, and where the insulation is thin, damaged, or missing entirely, that heat warms the roof deck and melts the snow above it. In summer, you'd never see this. The roof looks perfectly normal, but in winter, it looks like the house is drawing you a diagram of its insulation problems. Now let's talk about ice dams. One of the most destructive winter problems a home can have. Here's how they form. Heat escapes through a poorly insulated attic and warms the upper section of the roof. Snow melts and the water runs down toward the eaves. But the eaves, the overhangs at the edge of the roof, stay cold because they're not above heated space. So the water refreezes at the edge, forming a dam, and as the snow melts and runs down, it pools behind that ice dam. And here's the problem. That pooled water can seep under your shingles and get into your home. I've seen ice dams cause damage, stained ceilings, ruined insulation, mold growth, and rotted roof decking. It's not just cosmetic, it's a structural damage that can cost thousands of dollars to repair. So here's the key insight. Icicles hanging from gutters aren't just a pretty winter sight. They're often a sign that ice dams are forming above them. When you're viewing a property in winter and you see significant icicle formation, that's your cue to ask hard questions about the attic insulation, the ventilation. In summer, you'd walk right past, never knowing there was an issue. Heating systems under real load. Here's something buyers from Ontario don't often consider. A heating system inspected in July isn't really being inspected at all. Sure, the inspector can turn it on, check that it ignites, and verify basic operation, but they can't tell you how it performs when actually being asked to heat your home through a cold Nova Scotia night. Winter changes that completely. When you view a home during genuine cold weather, you're experiencing the heating system under real conditions. You'll notice things like cold spots in certain rooms that suggest inadequate heat distribution, strange noises, banging, rattling, or cycling on and off frequently that indicate potential problems. whether the system can actually maintain a comfortable temperature when it's -10 outside. For buyers coming from Ontario, there's another important consideration. Approximately 52% of Nova Scotia homes use heating oil as their primary fuel source. That's very different from the natural gas systems common in Ontario. Winter is the perfect time to evaluate an oil heating system because it's actively working. You can see the oil consumption rate, check whether the tank is adequately sized, and identify any delivery access issues, like whether the oil truck can actually reach the pipe when there's 2 feet of snow in the driveway. Professional tip: ask to see the home's heating bills from the previous winter. This gives you real data on fuel consumption and costs, far more accurate than any estimate. Doors and air filtration. This might be the single biggest advantage of winter viewings. You can actually feel the drafts. In summer, a poorly sealed window is invisible. The weather stripping might be cracked, the caulking might be failing, the thermal seal between panes might be broken, but you never know unless you physically inspected every window. In winter, just hold your hand near the window frame. If cold air is infiltrating, you'll feel it immediately. The same applies to doors, electrical outlets on exterior walls, attic hatches, and anywhere else air might be leaking in. Cold weather makes these problems obvious in a way that warm weather simply can't. Window condensation, what it's really telling you. Condensation on windows is another winter-specific indicator. Let's break down what different types of condensation mean. Condensation on the interior surface of the glass, the side you can touch, suggests high humidity inside the home or potentially inadequate ventilation. It's worth investigating, but it's not necessarily a window problem. The condensation or fog between the panes of a double or triple pane window, that's a failed thermal seal, and it means the window has lost its insulating ability. Those windows will need to be replaced. Frost on the interior surface. That's even more serious. It typically indicates extremely poor insulation value, often from very old single-pane windows or completely failed seals. Window replacement costs, depending on the size and quality, expect between $1,100 as high as $2,500 per window installed. Identifying failed windows during a winter viewing could save you significant unexpected costs after the purchase. Plumbing and frozen pipe. Frozen pipes are one of the most common and most expensive winter disasters a homeowner can face. A single burst pipe can release hundreds of gallons of water, causing catastrophic damage to floors, walls, and belongings. Winter inspections give you the opportunity to evaluate a home's freeze risk in real conditions. Here's what to look for. Are there pipes running through the unheated spaces like garages, crawl spaces, or exterior walls? How are they insulated? Are there areas where plumbing is obviously vulnerable to freezing temperatures? During a winter viewing, you can often identify these vulnerabilities just by walking through the basement or crawl space. Pipes against exterior walls with no insulation, pipes running through an unheated garage, water lines in areas that clearly get very cold. In summer, these same pipes look fine. You never think twice about them. But when you're standing in the crawl space and you can feel how cold it gets, suddenly the risk becomes very real. Critical temperature. Pipes are at risk of freezing when temperatures drop below 20 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about -7 Celsius. The longer temperatures stay below freezing, the greater the risk. If you identify vulnerable pipes during a winter inspection, addressing them proactively with insulation, heat tape, or rerouting is far cheaper than dealing with a burst pipe after you've moved in. Thermal imaging, seeing the invisible. If you really want to understand what's happening with a home's energy envelope, thermal imaging is the gold standard, and it's most effective in winter. A thermal imaging camera, also called an infrared camera, detects surface temperatures and displays them in a color gradient. Warm areas appear as reds and oranges, cold areas show up as blues and purples. Why does this matter? Thermal imaging works best when there's a significant temperature difference between inside and outside, ideally at least a 20 degree Fahrenheit difference. That's roughly 14 degrees Celsius. In Nova Scotia winters, we easily exceed that threshold, and that temperature difference makes problems visible that would be completely hidden in mild weather. Here's what thermal imaging reveals in winter. Missing insulation in walls shows up as cold spots, often in distinct rectangular patterns where a section of insulation has settled. been removed, or was never installed. Air leaks around windows, doors, outlets, and penetrations appear as dramatic temperature changes at specific points. Thermal bridging, where framing members conduct heat through walls more than insulated cavities, becomes clearly visible. Moisture problems, including roof leaks and hidden water intrusion, often show temperature anomalies because wet materials conduct heat differently than dry ones. Ask your inspector. Many professional home inspectors offer thermal imaging as an add-on service. It typically costs an additional $150 to $300, but the information it provides can be invaluable, especially for older homes. Foundation and drainage. Nova Scotia's freeze-thaw cycles put tremendous stress on foundations. Water expands when it freezes, and that expansion can widen existing cracks or create new ones over time. Winter can reveal foundation vulnerabilities in several ways. First, check the basement walls for any signs of frost penetration or unusual moisture. Cold, damp spots on interior foundation walls can indicate cracks or areas where the foundation is more permeable than it should be. Second, look at how the snow melts around the foundation. If snow melts quickly right next to the foundation, faster than snow just a few feet away, it could indicate heat loss from the basement or improper grading that's directing water toward the house. Third, watch for doors that suddenly stick or don't open or close properly. This can happen in winter when frost heave causes subtle foundation movement. While some seasonal movement is normal, significant sticking or gaps warrant further investigation. The good news is that foundations are visible year-round, but winter conditions can make certain problems more apparent, particularly anything related to moisture, frost penetration, or seasonal movement. What winter won't show you. To be fair, I need to tell you that what winter inspections cannot reveal. Every season has limitations, and winter is no exceptions. The roof surface. If there's significant snow cover, the inspector won't be able to assess shingle condition, flashing, or the surface damage directly. They can look for warning signs like ice dams and even snow melt, but a visual inspection of the roofing material itself may need to wait for spring. Air conditioning. Air conditioning systems should not be tested when the outdoor temperatures are below minus 15 degrees Celsius. Doing so can damage the compressor. If you're buying in winter, you may want to negotiate a provision in your contract to address AC issues discovered when warmer weather allows testing. Landscaping and grading. Deep snow can hide landscaping issues, drainage problems, and grading that directs water toward the foundation. Ask for photos of the property during other seasons or plan a spring visit before closing if possible. Outdoor features. Decks, patios, fences, septic fields, and other outdoor elements may be partially or completely buried under snow. These will need assessment once the conditions allow. Some pests. Many insects and some rodents go dormant in winter. While signs of past infestation may still be visible, active pest problems might be not apparent until warmer months. The key is understanding these limitations and planning for them. Some inspectors offer to return in the spring to assess items that couldn't be properly evaluated in winter. It's worth asking about. Let me give you a practical checklist, things to specifically evaluate when viewing or inspecting a property in winter. Exterior observations. Look at the roof. Is snow melting evenly, or are there patches where heat is clearly escaping? Check the eaves for ice dams and icicle formation. Examine how snow melt drains away from the foundation. Interior comfort test. Walk through every room. Are there cold spots? Does the heating system maintain even temperature throughout, or do some rooms feel significantly colder? Listen for unusual furnace noises, recycling, banging, or rattling. Windows and doors. Feel around the window and door frames for drafts. Look for condensation and note whether it's on the surface or between the panes. Check for frost on interior glass. Test how smoothly doors and windows operate. Plumbing vulnerability. Inspect the basement and any crawl spaces. Where do water pipes run? Are pipes in unheated areas properly insulated? Are there signs of previous freeze damage? Basement and foundation. Look for moisture, frost penetration, efflorescence, those white mineral deposits that indicate water has been moving through the concrete. Check if doors are sticking, which might suggest foundation movement. Heating system evaluation. Note the type, age of equipment, how well the system is maintaining temperature. Ask about the fuel consumption and costs from the previous winter. I've created a downloadable PDF version of this checklist. Here's the bottom line. Winter buying isn't a compromise, it's an opportunity. When you view and inspect a home during cold weather, you're seeing it under stress. You're discovering problems that stay hidden in fair weather, and you're making a more informed decision because of it. Yes, there are some things winter can't show you, but the insights you gain about insulation, heating performance, air filtration, and freeze vulnerability are things you simply cannot evaluate in summer. For buyers relocating to Nova Scotia from Ontario or elsewhere, I know winter buying might feel counterintuitive. You're used to the spring market rush, but here's the reality. Fewer buyers compete for properties in winter. Sellers are often more motivated, and you get to see exactly how a home performs when it matters most. If you're considering a move to Halifax, Dartmouth, Bedford, the South Shore, or anywhere in Nova Scotia, I'd love to help you navigate the process any time of year. I specialize in working with out-of-province buyers, and I understand the unique challenges you face when purchasing from a distance. My approach is systematic, analytical, and completely pressure-free. Download the winter inspection checklist using the link below, and if you have questions or want to discuss your Nova Scotia home search, reach out anytime. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next video.